I'd like to welcome everyone to today's webinar on workflow using IntelliCloud's Activity Center. My name is Roger Graebner, and I'm a sales director with Intellianalytics. Today's webinar is just one in a series of short webinars that we will be hosting to help you get the most out of your Intellianalytics system. Our goal is to help you become more productive by showing you new features and functionality, some of the features that have existed for a while but are often overlooked and underutilized, and assorted tips and tricks to make your day easier. Because this webinar is being recorded, all participants will be on mute to avoid any background noise. However, if you have a question or comment, please use the question feature available on your control panel. Please keep an eye on your email inbox for the latest copy of IntelliNews, where you'll find the schedule for upcoming topics, as well as a link to this recording and other past topics. At this time, I'm happy to introduce you to Angela Beck, a solutions consultant with Intellianalytics. Angela will be guiding you through today's session.
Good morning, everybody. If you can all see my screens, today we're going to look at the Activity Center that Roger has just talked about within our Intellivue model. The Activity Center is a tool within IntelliCloud that enables you to design automation workflows with a simple dialog-driven interface. With Activity Center processes like invoice approval, employee onboarding, and order management can be automated to remove wasted time, unlocking a new level of productivity to your entire team. Today, some of the things we are going to learn about the Activity Center is how to set up some common activities such as routing, approval, and email notifications, assign workflows to specific users and roles, how to leverage metadata, document attributes, business rules, or employee decisions to automatically route documents, set up alerts and notifications so that participants in the process can be notified of the required actions, and monitor where documents are in a workflow approval process. So I'm going to start by going to Intellivue GX. And for today's example, I'm going to use our Human Resources electronic filing cabinet. The Activity Center is located up here in the top section. We have Activity Editor, our catalog, and then some rules and workflow that we can get pre-set up that you can automatically run from this clickable area. The first thing I'm going to show you is actually how to build a rule using the Activity Center. First, I'm going to go to the Activity Editor, and the icon looks like a little pencil and ruler. So when I select that, my Search Activity Builder is going to pop up. In the Activity Builder, I have, depending on how your application is set up in Intellivue, anything that's blue are going to be your folder indexes. Anything that's purple will be your document attributes. And then anything that is green or gray are going to be additional values that can be applied to documents and the different content that is within Intellivue. So for my current example, let's take a case and assume that I'm working in Human Resources Department for a company, and I am responsible for the Columbus location. So I'm going to select my folder index of location. So I want to narrow my rule that I'm only going to view documents that are part of the Columbus location. So when you click that, a little area comes over here, and then from my little equals one or more drop down, I'm narrowing it down, so I'm only going to get documents associated with Columbus. The next thing is that I'm probably going to be responsible for all document types of application and background check. So I'm going to go down here to my document-specific items and under Administrative Document Type. Once that's been added, then I'm going to expand this, and I'm going to select the document type values that I'm in charge of reviewing. And then the next document that I'm going to select is Document Status. And from here, I'm going to expand it and select that I need to review any documents that have a status of needs reviewed. So just reviewing the search that I put together is that I'm in charge of the Columbus location, and I'm in charge of reviewing all administrative document types of application and background check that have a status of needs reviewed. So to do a quick test to run this so I can see that I've built my search rule the way that I want it, I'm going to come down here to the bottom and click Run. So then this is going to run a rule, my workflow rule, based on the items that I have put together here. So when I click Run, I find in my search results that I have 2 folders. We can see Paulette Ashford and Jay Powers, and they each have 2 documents, so 4 total, that match my criteria. If I scroll to the right, I can see that I've got an application, a background check for each employee, and they all have a status of needs reviewed. So the workflow rule that I put together is pulling back the data that I've specified. And we can also see that it's for that location, Columbus. Once I'm happy with the way I've set my rule up, to save that rule so I can run it for future, I'm going to go back to my editor, and I'm going to come down to this bottom section and give my rule a name. And then if I want to give it a further description, I could enter that here. If I have more employees that need to know what types of rules are being set up. And I can also decide what type of usage or who has the ability to see this rule that I've created. Private means that I can only see it. Public means that I can make the rule available to other users, but I can set up and specify which users have the access to this rule. Or I can do public, so then all users can use this rule. Let's just select public for now so I can show you how to assign users. And then I will come over here to the right and click Save. So now my rule has been saved. Once that's been saved, because I've selected public, I now need to assign the specific roles or users that I want to tie to that role to have the ability to use it. So I'm going to come up here to the Search Activity Catalog. And this is where all Activity Center rules are set up. So I can see right now for the human resources, there are 3 rules set up. So if I expand this, I can see on top of this rule that I've created that a couple other rules have been created as well. But let's focus on this rule that we've created for now. Once I select it, I can see some options that have become available over here. Authority is the option that you will go to so that you can assign the different roles and users to have the ability to see it. So I'll click Authority. And once this Search Activity Authority window pops up, I have the ability to expand and see the roles that I can assign it to, or I can go to specific users. So let's say I need to assign this role to me. I'll select the name or the role, and then I'll come down here and click Enable. When you select Enable, what that does is it turns on the ability so that me as the user, when I log in, I can now see it from this clickable auto rule run area up here. If I want to have it automatically run every time I log in to Intellivue, I can click Inbox. So that way this rule is automatically running in my inbox. And then once I log in, I can see over here in this inbox section, this is where I would review to see if I have any new workflow coming in for me to review for that day. Once you have everything assigned, click Apply. And then those rules will be assigned to that user role. And just close. One other thing that you can do is if you have a specific role set up and you need to be notified via email, or you need several users to be notified via email, we have a notification section. over here to the right, if I click on notifications, this gives me the ability to put in the users that I need to be notified via email of this rule. So I would just type in their email. And click add. And then if I have several, I can just keep adding those names there. And when I'm done, I can click apply. And then anytime a new document or documents that come through the system that meet the criteria that I built for my rule, then those users will be notified via email that they have a new document within Intellivue for them to review. Go ahead and close out of this. So once my rule's set up, let's go ahead and close out and see that it's in my inbox and working. So I'm going to log back into Intellivue by clicking my login to service provider. And it'll give me a prompt, put in my password. Now I can see my inbox now has 2 results for different searches. So if I click on this inbox tab, I can now see here is my new hire documents for review rule that I had just set up. And I can see that I have 2 folders that match my search criteria. If I double click on this inbox rule, this will get me the results that we had tested with earlier. And so if I scroll back over, I can see I've got my documents that need to be reviewed. So if I click on that document, now this is where I'll begin my review workflow process. And once it comes up, I can go through my document, and if everything looks good, then I'll go here to my Edit Indexes or Attributes button. And then this is where if I'm happy with my document and then I'm ready to change my status, I'll select that value from my drop-down list. And for this one, I'll select Complete. And then I'll come down here and click my Apply button. So that document has now been completed. When I'm ready to go to the next document that needs reviewed from the search list, I'll click this little Next Folder button. And then it'll take me to that next document in that list. And then I'll continue the same thing once I've reviewed it. Do my Edit Indexes Attributes. Mark it as complete once I've reviewed it. And then hit Apply. And you'll continue that process until you've reviewed all the documents in the inbox. If I go back to my inbox here and refresh my search, I can see now that it's updated that now I only have 1 folder. If I double click that, I can see that I've reviewed all of the files for Paulette Ashford, and now the only documents left in my rule that need reviewed are for Jay Powers. And I would just continue my normal process of going in and reviewing and then updating that workflow status to approved or completed. Now let's go back in to our Activity Center and review some of the other activity searches that I have built and put together. This one here, I'm going to go over here and select Edit. This option here allows you to edit existing rules that have been built into the system. So if you need to add additional values or take things away. And it's going to bring you up to a window that is similar to the editor window that we had used earlier to build our first rule. And then this rule that we currently have built, what it's doing, it is set up to alert an individual or individuals that have a benefit enrollment document that is about to expire and needs to be renewed within a certain time frame. I currently have selected the benefit document type of benefit elect form. And then I have a function that's running against the document date that has been entered for that specific document. And I'm selecting function from these different rules and equations that you can set up for rule building. And I've got it set that between get date or today's date minus 760 days or 2 years and get date plus 730 days. What this statement is doing, it's saying that based on the document date, the rule is checking 30 days before the benefit enrollment document expires so that the individual is notified to renew it. So if I decide to run the rule so we can see what that looks like, this is showing me that I have 2 folders, 2 individuals with 2 documents that are the benefit elect form, and then that form is set to expire within the next 30 days of its regular 2-year. So then I would go in here and double check, and then I can go in and see that it needs to be renewed, and then I would notify that individual so they could get their forms updated and renewed. Another rule that we have set up in here, if I go back to my Activity Center catalog, is right here. So let me click Edit It so we can see it. And this is going to be searching on the last name of a folder and the administrative doc type. So based on the last name, I have it set with a question mark, and the question mark is used to prompt me. So then I'm not selecting specific values. I can enter my values when I select the item when I run it. And the same when I have this administrative doc type, if I expand this, I also have it set to prompt. So that way I can have specific values that I want to search on, but I don't have to set them up every time over here. I can just have those values ready to go, but then still enter what I would want to use. So if I come down here and click Run, this is what your prompt is going to look like every time you select that type of rule or search. So if I have a last name, I can put Ash. So we'll do a partial last name. And let's say I want to search for, you can select multiple values here for these 2 doc types. And then I'll hit Continue. And then it returns in my search area. I have the full, so Ash at the beginning for what it found. And then we have the 2 different document types I selected. And then because I've had these already set up here, ready to go, and values already assigned, then those are then all listed up here. So if I click this little arrow to the right, I can see my 3 searches that I have built. And because I selected Enabled in the Authority section, I have the ability to run any of these. So if I click this, then there's my prompted search that I can then run again every time I select that value. And then there's another search result from there. And here's my 30 days one again that I ran earlier. And then that's showing me the documents that match that search criteria. And when you're in the search activity, if you don't want to use the editor, you can always come in here and click this New button, and then it will bring up the editor for you. And then you would just select the application that you want to use if it's not human resources, if it's accounts payable, or the one that you have set up for your organization. And then just come in and start selecting your values of what you would like to use. And that's kind of your basics on the Activity Center workflow. Do we have, if we want to open it up, do we have any questions from those that are on? If you want to type those in or chat center below.
Angela, I don't see any questions. Nice job.
Okay.
You made it look easy.
Okay. And then if there's no questions, if you have any questions going forward in the future, you can contact us at support@intellinetics.com, and one of our support techs will get back with you and contact you regarding any questions if you need help building any sort of specific searches, because my searches today were just kind of generic to show that basic workflow, but there's a variety of ways that we can help build it, and we have documentation too that we can share. But just contact us at support, and we'll be able to help you with any types of requests that you may have regarding the Activity Center.